Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an intriguing update regarding Pete Hegseth and a potential erroneous story that was reported on today by NPR saying that, you can see here, exclusive, the White House is looking to replace Pete Hegseth as defense secretary. And the administration immediately came out against this. Now, I'm going to give the backstory to this. Originally, Hegseth coming in, there was a thought that he was maybe a little bit underqualified. You had the signal leak that came out that, looking back on it, it really was Waltz's fault, not Hegseth's. You look at the screenshot, it says Michael Waltz added the reporter to the group, and then just the whole idea of using Signal as communication. You talk to any experts, this is how these people talk to each other. They use Signal. That type of communication that was done through Signal with Vance, Hegseth, Waltz, and others, Gabbard was there as well. It was extremely low-level information. There was no coordinates. There was no detailed map. There was no military instructions. There was no time exact or anything like that. So you can use something like Signal for that. But they already got Hegseth on that tied into it. You can see the updated look at this in terms of, if we can get this to update, in terms of Hegseth possibly being out before July. Now, they started this market because there were rumors after the Signal leak that he would be gone. It was at around 21%. It went up to around 17%. It's since leveled off down to 7 or 8%, and now it's climbed back up to around a 30% chance Hegseth being out before July. Whether or not this NPR story is true or not, the administration is saying, no, it's false. White House begins search for new Secretary of Defense per NPR. Rapid Response 47 immediately comes out, says lies from NPR, calling them fake news. You had Hegseth at like a little Easter bunny, Easter egg hunt, call out the news and say, oh, it's all fake news. Because let me also say this. This stems from a new report that came out yesterday that Hegseth was sharing the Yemen strikes with his mommy and like family members and his lawyer. And so, like, that's the secondary thing. They're like, now we really got him. It's the same exact thing talking about the Houthi strikes in Yemen. And that was an international thing. It wasn't just, oh, we're doing it for Israel. I mean, if you look at the Signal group, J.D. Vance was against doing that because it was more beneficial to the EU because of the amount of international trade that goes through those waterways that the Houthis were disrupting. And it was an international issue in terms of global trade and global supply. So now, and we've also got another angle to this entire thing, and that's what just came out 4 or 5 days ago via the New York Times article, which was an extremely detailed article talking about the Trump administration's position on potential military escalation against Iran in terms of helping Israel. Israel went to the United States and said, we want to strike Iran, we need your help, and we need a lot of your help in terms of striking these nuclear sites. Because you've got the potential nuclear deal. Trump originally ripped it up back in his first term. Now they want to do a new one. Iran is very weary of Trump because they ripped up the original one that was signed under Obama. Most people say it was crap. But either way, we just want peace within the Middle East and de-escalation. And that's what Hegseth wants. So if you look at Hegseth, you look at Tulsi Gabbard, you look at Vance and Trump, they're against military escalation in the Middle East. Now, you've got some neocons like Rubio, Waltz, and others within the administration that potentially want there to be escalation. But I heard in reports that even Waltz was against what Israel was planning in terms of the help that they needed from the United States. But Trump, with the help of Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, said, no, we're not doing this. We want diplomacy. So it's interesting, this is coming out now 3 or 4 days after that. And you think all these liberals who are like trying to gloat with Hegseth being removed, they're all against military action against Iran and escalation within the Middle East. Well, so is Hegseth. Imagine they replace him with a neocon or someone. That's a big problem. So we'll have to see how this develops. I will say it's not a great look this early on. What are we, 3 months, 4 months into the administration at this point? I guess 3 months, exactly 3 months, to be dealing with this with Hegseth, who already, he wasn't on thin ice, but there were already questions about his ability in terms of possibly a lack of qualifications. And listen, if Hegseth is going to be against war in the Middle East, God bless him, and I support that absolutely. and it's like all this new stuff. It's like he told his mom about, oh, we're gonna bomb Yemen and stuff. This is just, I don't even know what it was, but it's the same regurgitated stuff over and over again from the media. There's all this pressure. Now there's these NPR slants coming out against it. And then here's Hegseth, like, with the Easter Bunny behind him. He's like, oh, it's the media. They're lying again. He's got, like, at this Easter Bunny event. So, look, we'll see what happens. I think if there's at least a little bit of smoke here. I mean, did NPR, maybe they got a bad source? Levitt said, oh, it's just some random anonymous source. That's wrong. Maybe that's possible. Maybe they're just trying to put heat on the administration. Because you would think, based off of what we know within the Signal leak, it was not Hegseth's fault, and the way they were communicating on Signal was very normal based on the conversation that was being had. Now, I don't know about him sharing it with his mom and his lawyer, but based off of what we know, that wasn't even Hegseth. It was Waltz. Waltz would have been the fall guy if somebody got removed from the administration because of that Signal issue. And I said it wouldn't have surprised me if Waltz had gotten removed, but that was a lot of media pressure, and Trump's like, I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not going to allow them to do this. And it wasn't a big deal either. It didn't disrupt anything because what was being shared was not critical information. It's not information that you would want out. I'm not saying it's ideal to have this. I said it was bad and it was a bad look for the administration, but it's not this horrible thing they're making it out to be. And now they're trying to really hit Hegseth just days after he said, and this all came out, he said, no, I mean, this was inner leaks. He didn't want military action against Iran. Vance didn't even want military action against the Houthis. So these people, they're anti-war in the Middle East. They are. And there's some disruptions right now. Israel doesn't like it. They want there to be escalation. But look at these Senate Democrats calling on Pete Hegseth to resign. You'd think they would be in favor of what Hegseth is talking about in terms of the Middle East and possibly de-escalation there. But they all want him to resign. So we'll see what happens in terms of this. I think they just want chaos within the administration. That's what they really want. But you could argue that, yeah, there's a little bit of smoke here. They're saying it's fake news. You have to say it's fake news. You're not going to let this simmer. And you're not going to say, yeah, no, it's true. So you have to immediately say it's fake news. Even if you did want to secretly replace Hegseth, you don't say that until you have the replacement ready. So there's a number of things at play when it comes to this. But, this is potentially liberal media, liberal propaganda trying to put a negative slant on the Trump administration. And that was really the Signal thing. And we got through the Signal thing, and I said it wasn't a big deal based on the stuff that came out. But now they're trying to dig it up again and say, oh, now more people are involved in it. But it's the same exact issue. So now we're going to wait 4 weeks and then dig up the same exact thing and say, now we got new information. He texted his mom that they bombed the Houthis. So it's like, I mean, it's just it's the same thing. They're trying to disguise it as a new slant. And they're like, oh, the next day after this huge bombshell, Hegseth is out. They're going to look to replace him. And then they immediately say, no, it's false. That's not true at all. I mean, you're drumming up this story to make it seem like it's this huge groundbreaking thing. So that's really what's going on. But guys, we are coming to the end of the video. Make sure you guys like the video down below. And you can see Hegseth right now. Look, we'll see with this. I mean, with this type of thing, this is what happened with the Signal message. It went to like 20%. Then it went all the way back down to 6%. Within 2 or 3 weeks, as long as nothing happens to Hegseth, this will go back down. Unless there's like really crazy leaks that he's gone by multiple sources. But we'll have to see. We don't exactly know where Hegseth stands within the administration. Trump, they've said that Trump 100% supports him. This morning he came out, yes, we support him. Because you have to say that. And that might be true. We don't know. But the problem is there's been a few things now to where you could say, well, maybe there is a little bit of smoke here in terms of Hegseth. But we thought that the Signal leak was not even Hegseth's fault. And they're like, they shouldn't have been communicating on Signal. Well, on Signal, you set it to the messages delete themselves after 3 hours. The way that they were communicating, it was all high fives. It was all we completed it. There's no direct coordinates. There's no exact details on when the strike, the timing of it, any of that. So that is proper communication on Signal. I mean, you don't want it to be shared with the reporter, but that was Waltz who added him. So, I mean, that's just my opinion on Hegseth's involvement in Signal. I don't know about his friends and mom being involved. I don't know about that. Are they going to prove that? Like he shared messages with his, I don't know. I mean, that came out yesterday. And that's why Hegseth was responding to it at that Easter celebration. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.